15 days jail, credit 1, serve 14, 3 on the court work program, 11 days now, attend NA 3 times a week until an intensive outpatient treatment. Your name, sir?
Johnny Luke, Lawrenceburg.
All right, so let's backtrack and let me explain everything to you. I sentenced you on February 4th of this year. Your plea was taken under 7411. It's a drug charge. I took it under probation for a period of 15 months. I sentenced you, as I said, on February 4 of 26. You pled guilty on March the 31 to a variety of counts, which I will cover with you anyway in this momentarily. Failing to pay fines and costs, which is count 1. I'm sorry, count. Count 1 is that you were positive for a cocaine metabolite on a test of February 23. Count 2, you failed to submit to testing as ordered on March 13. Count 3, you failed to refrain from consuming drugs. Positive results for cocaine. Count 4, you failed to submit to weekly testing as ordered on March 25. And count 5, you failed to pay your fines and costs as ordered. Ms. O'Donnell, your appearance, please. So did you do an amendment on this
So
one?
I didn't do an amendment, I issued a new one, because you took pleas on the first 5 technical violations on March 31st. And then we scheduled him for sentencing today. So I did issue a new one on there that's issued with yesterday's date that has 2 new violations on there. It should be on your page. There's 1 technical and now 1 non-technical for picking up a new charge.
I don't think I signed that, did I?
No, you did not, 'cause I had it printed out yesterday.
Oh, that's okay, that's okay. Okay, can I sign that? Do you have an original for me to
Yep.
sign? So, sir, you're also charged with failure to refrain from consuming alcohol or drugs, cocaine metabolite on April 8th, and also that you failed to refrain from violating a law. You pled guilty to possession of drug paraphernalia on April 14th in the 28th District Court in Southgate. So I'm going to give you a lawyer. I think you need one. You don't have to have one, but I would strongly suggest you have one. And then you can cover everything with your lawyer today, and then you guys can come back in front of me whenever you're ready. Does that sound acceptable to you? All right, so would you take this to Mason for me and explain what has happened? And you can follow Ms. O'Donnell there, okay, sir? And she'll set you up with a lawyer. U.S. Team Corp. All right, your name, sir?
Johnny Luke, Lawrenceburg.
All right, so we had that 1 violation, then she prepared a 2nd violation. And how's he going to proceed on this next show cause dated April the 21st?
On the 2 new charges, Jeff?
Correct.
Health and
Is that what you want to do? If you plead guilty here, I want you to understand, since you've already got, it looks like 5 technical violations, that your probation could be revoked and you could be incarcerated on this charge for the maximum, which is up to 90 days. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And also your 7411 status could be revoked and the conviction entered. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. I already covered your rights with you today, but I'll do it again. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to a hearing. At a hearing, you have the right to question their witnesses, to bring in your own. To use the subpoena powers of the court to bring in those witnesses. If you plead guilty, you'll be giving up all those rights, and we're not going to have a hearing of any kind. Do you understand that?
Yes.
It's count 1 that you fail to refrain from consuming alcohol, testing positive for cocaine metabolite on a test of April the 8th of 26. How do you plead? I can't hear you.
Guilt.
Did you in fact consume cocaine, say within the 7 days before that?
Yeah, I was.
Count,
Yeah.
count 2 that you failed to refrain from violating a law being convicted of drug paraphernalia on April 14 of 26. with an offense date of March 4 of 26. How do you plead? Were you convicted of drug paraphernalia arising out of an offense date that occurred on March 4 of 26?
Yes.
Were you convicted on that case on April 14
Yes.
of 26?
Yes.
And that's after I placed you on probation on this case, true?
Yes.
Anybody force you to plead guilty?
No.
Please accept it. To those two counts, Ms. O'Donnell, your name. Anything you'd like to say?
Judge, just that. I know the issue with Mr. Thornsberry is kind of a sensitive issue with regard to how the court's gonna proceed on this. Judge, at first, he did have some issues going in, but since then, I think he's made some improvements and he's been able to come to a more stable period in his life, Judge. He is currently working at a company called Dayhot Solutions in Romulus, Judge. He's a high-low driver. He's been doing that for the last 2 months. He's making $17 an hour. He currently lives in Flat Rock. He's got his own apartment. He is in therapy at Team Wellness. He goes there once a week for group therapy, Judge. And he just about 4 weeks ago, he was prescribed Suboxone. And that's helped him deal with his urges, and has helped get him under control with regard to the issues with the controlled substances, Judge. He tells me that he's doing well on that. He sees a psychiatrist that prescribes him the Suboxone. He does also go to meetings. He goes to NAAA 3 times a week. He's been doing that. Going to Mr. Thornberry since December to January of this year. He is able to pay half the balance that's owed on the probation, Judge, by next week. He's able to pay $100 today towards that balance. And if he does go to jail, Judge, I think this is gonna set him back. He's gonna lose his job, and I think he's just gonna go back to square one. It is kind of a touchy situation with Mr. Thornsberry.
Anything you'd like to say?
I want to apologize to the board. And I know I've done wrong, but if you give me a second chance, I'll make better decisions and better choices.
I probably would have given you a second chance if I hadn't been told that you tested positive for cocaine again. Yesterday. Hang on. Let me finish. You were positive April 8th. You got a criminal conviction involving drugs, drug paraphernalia. What can I do? Second chance, you've had 7 or 8 or 9 extra chances. Has he been in intensive outpatient yet?
He had an intake for it yet. I don't believe he started it yet. He is compliant with treatment since he's been in just one-on-one treatment, and he has been prescribed Suboxone since the beginning. I mean, I'm obviously concerned as you are as well. Again, especially too, he's only 2 clean tests since he last saw you. He tested clean on April 1st, and then he tested clean on April 14th. Those are the only 2 clean tests I have since the last time he saw you. Obviously, I'm concerned as well as everyone else regarding his use. He's always been honest about it. He's always come to me and told me I can't fault him for that. He's always honest. But again, I don't know what else we can do for him at this point.
I'm almost ready to revoke probation. That's how close I am. You can't keep using. You can't keep using.
Judge, would the court be willing to take this issue under advisement, considering he just started Suboxone, and since then, he's reported positive results at least?
He just tested positive.
And he
Well, he
tested-
started the Suboxone 4 weeks ago.
Yes, but he tested positive on April 8th, and he was already on Suboxone then too.
And he tested positive yesterday.
Now, that hadn't been confirmed as part of my
He
understanding.
didn't have the money to pay for the lab until he was on the admit, so.
And he also does report being drug tested when he does go to the psychiatrist's office as well, Judge, to get that prescription for the Suboxone. He does say that they also test him, and if he comes up dirty, they won't subscribe. Suboxone to him.
I cannot in good conscience do anything but revoke his probation, revoke his 7411 status, and enter the conviction. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to sentence him on the charge. And I'll listen to whatever else you want to say. So I'm revoking that status, the conviction's entered, and now I'm going to sentence him without 7411 status, and I will go ahead and do that now if you're ready to proceed.
I have nothing further. I don't know if Mr. Cronenberg has anything else.
There's nothing I can say, you know. I don't know. I understand.
Has he paid anything on this yet, Heather?
On the such he has a balance of 880 still.
No, I even told you, I set you up 75 weekly beginning February 13th, and I told you if you didn't have the money to come talk to me. And you didn't come and talk to me, and you just kind of blew it off. And you haven't made a single payment. And I do that with everybody, and I just don't understand why someone would just blow that off. I mean, it's just hard for me to get. Did he do any of his court work program yet?
He is not.
Didn't let Jessica know that I didn't have the money.
You can't just tell her. I didn't tell you just if you don't have the money, tell the probation officer. Didn't I tell you to come and talk to me? Well, then why'd you tell her? Why don't you tell the guy who sits in right field at the Tiger games? I don't know what to tell you. I just don't understand it. But the money, I want to be clear about this. What I'm going to do now has nothing to do with your failure to pay the money. It's just another example of you being aloof about court orders, but it has nothing to do with you not being able to pay the money. 12 months probation, you cannot leave the state without the consent of the court. You cannot violate any law or ordinance. To change your address, your place of employment, or home telephone number, you must notify probation. You have to report as directed. No alcohol, no marijuana, no illegal drugs, no kratom, no poppy seeds and CBD oils. If you consume food or other items containing those substances, it will be deemed a violation. You're to submit to chemical testing, PBTs and ATGs weekly for 4 months, then bi-weekly if you're clean for the duration of probation. 15 days jail, credit 1, serve 14, 3 on the court work program, 11 days now, attend NA 3 times a week until an intensive outpatient treatment. So basically, I'm going to assess fines. I'm going to let you pay fines of 100, cost 150, 75 victims' rights, $50 justice assessment, 375, screening fees 60 for 435, probation fees are 240. For 675, court work program fees are 105 for a total of 780. You're to pay 50 weekly starting May the 18th. You may be eligible for early discharge from probation if you're compliant going forward after 6 months. You have 21 days to appeal, 14 days to apply for a court-appointed lawyer for purposes of appeal. This could have been a lot worse. So you have to do 3 days court work. You're in custody for the next 11, 50 a week starting May the 8th. That's where we'll go with this. You just got to pay more attention. Good luck. Have a seat over there. Thank you. Brian, which one do you have?
Mr. Griner.
Brian Shane Griner. 2-5B-149-713 A, B, and C. And I also, wait a minute, I have one, hang on one second. I have 9713B. I have 25B-149-678 A, B, and C. Okay, go ahead, counsel.
Good morning, Judge. Mr. Griner, Mr. Griner states with me.
Brian Shane Better.
So he's going to plead guilty to the added count of no operator's license on person.
Correct, Judge, as
They-
well as the careless,
Pardon?
as well as the careless drivers, the lead, they charge.
I got it. So the no ops he'll plead to, the suspend's going to be dismissed, and then he's going to plead to careless, and they're going to dismiss the,
Still the stop.
he did not, and they're also dismissing the drive while suspend, right?
Correct.
Wait a minute, what about this other one, the left center accidents? He didn't address all of it.
That's the show cause, Judge. Mr. Griner was pretty guilty of failure to pay on that. And then he did also pay off the expired plate. The expired plate ticket, he did pay that.
So the careless is going on the,
Failure to stop.
all right. If you plead to careless driving, sir, that's a 3-point civil infraction. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you plead guilty to no valid operator's license on person, that is a possible penalty as follows: up to 100 fines, 90 days jail costs, or all of those penalties. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you plead on those two, I'm going to dismiss the suspend. I'm going to dismiss the leave the scene charge, but you'll still have to deal with the left center accident and no proof of insurance show causes. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign, read, and understand the advice of rights?
Yes, sir.
If you plead guilty, you'll be giving up all of those rights and there will be no hearing or trial. Do you understand that?
Yes,
To the charge of careless driving, by the way, you understand that's 3 points.
yes, sir.
To that charge, do you plead responsible or not responsible?
Father.
To the charge, no valid operator's license on person, how do you plead?
Yes, sir.
Were you operating a motor vehicle in Brownstown Township on November 15 of 25 on Dix near Sibley in Brownstown?
Yes, sir.
And did you have a valid license with you on your person at the time?
No, sir.
Are you on probation or parole?
He is, yeah.
Were you on probation or parole on November 15 of 25?
No, sir.
So he was not. So this would not be violating another probation. Has anybody forced you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
I'm going to accept your plea to careless driving. Accept your plea to no valid operator's license on person. I'm going to dismiss the leave the scene and the drive while suspend on motion of the prosecutor. He owes 285 on 78C and he owes, I think, Heather, you can correct me. He owes 282 plus a clearance fee on 713B, right? Is that
I am
right?
looking- So 78C, he owes 285. And then the other one, I'm sorry, was that 13B you were looking at, Judge?
713B, it looks like he owes 282 plus his clearance fee of 45. That's a no insurance charge.
So yes, 327 total. That's what the clearance.
282, 570 you owe plus 45 in the clearance. Can you pay all of that today?
Yeah, Mr. Griner's had some medical issues. He broke his back. He's been employed for a long period of time, Judge. So he's gotten no income at this point. He also has another issue out of Monroe, which he was ordered to pay on. He owes $1,300 on that. And his finances are extremely limited at this point.
How long you been out of work?
Couple years.
How did, and you broke your back?
Yeah, I got 3 ruptured discs, my all 3 vertebrae were broken in 3 places.
How are you supporting yourself?
Been tough, I just odd jobs, little yard cleanup, cutting grass, odd jobs, like
I'm gonna do this. I'm ready to sentence him and we'll go from there, okay? Anything you'd like to say on his behalf? Let's just talk about the careless driving and the no ops.
Just that, Mr. Griner understands that he needs to get his situation taken care of with the licensing. And again, Judge, it is a financial issue, that's preventing him from being able to get his privileges reinstated. As far as the careless driving, Judge, he did, it was amended down, but originally there was an accident that was involved and I did speak.
Was that with another vehicle?
No, Judge, he hit a light, he lost control, hit a ditch, and then he hit a light pole. But there was no other vehicle that was involved.
How'd you manage that?
I lost control.
Why'd you lose control like that?
He doesn't recall much of what happened, Judge, because of the initial impact. So his memories, pretty
It's
limited
pretty hard to,
as to what happened before and after. He took a very bad hit from the airbag to the face. And, that's called,
and then you left the scene.
well,
Did you leave the scene? He left the scene, right?
Judge,
No.
that's disputed. That's the reason why they were willing to work with us on this, because there's a question of fact there as to what.
Why did the
Well,
police officer, hang on, slow down.
Judge, according to the report, when the officer arrived on the scene, he didn't see Mr. Powell, Mr. Griner, I apologize, at the vehicle. However, Mr. Griner was still in the area, and when the officer called him back, he did come back, Judge. However, so there's some dispute here as to whether that's completely accurate, the initial stuff. That's why they're willing to amend it now. Nothing else.
Anything else? On the no ops, 100 fines, 70 costs, 75 victims' rights, $50 justice assessment, 295 or 60 days. On the careless driving, 2.25. So you owe $420 then. And you still owe $327 on the no proof, including the clearance fee, and you still owe $285 on the left to center. So how are you gonna pay those? And when?
Is court able to waive the impact late fees on those other ones, just to help them out a little bit as far as the fines and costs on ones they.
And I wouldn't mind doing that if he had shown up. He didn't show up. That's my issue with it. He never showed up on this. You know, you gotta show a little bit of respect.
Again, Judge, I think it was just maybe a financial issue. He did ultimately, you did walk in on these, correct? He walked in on his own, Judge, on these, and he wants to take care of them.
Wasn't here in December on the leave the scene. We show caused him. He didn't walk in here until December or no, March the 16th, it looks like. Is that right or not? Does that sound right? Yeah, you didn't walk in until March the 16th or 17th. Did you hear what I said?
Yes.
So you didn't show up for 5 months. If you weren't working, there's no reason for you to have not shown up.
I didn't know I had warrants. I thought it was just financial.
They gave you tickets, right?
No, they did not.
The officer didn't give you the tickets. He filled them out,
No,
threw them in the garbage can or what?
I didn't get no tickets at the scene.
I'm not gonna waive anything here. I'm sorry. It looks to me like they were handed to him. Period. So he's gonna tell me when he can pay these.
Judge, we're gonna-
Is he just prohibited from working? I don't want to get into his medical condition too much. But he said he could do side jobs. If he can do side jobs, I don't know why he can't do other jobs. He hasn't worked in 2 years.
There's some days I can work, or some days I can't.
Just tell me when you can pay these.
Been planning on 6 months,
6 months.
We're gonna need a
When's the last time you went to the doctor?
about a year ago.
So you're just kind of sitting home hoping this heals on its own? You're not going to doctors? You haven't been there in a year and you haven't worked and you're doing side?
So I'm trying to get my stuff together to disability, the file for disability.
Get what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know what your diagnosis is. I don't really want to sit here and talk about it. On the no ops charge, I'm gonna give you, that's $295. I'll give you until June the 15th to pay that, okay? June 15th. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I'll give you until August 15th to pay the careless driving. If you don't have the money on those, you call the court, we'll go on Zoom. I'll give you an extension. On the no proof of insurance, I'm gonna give you until October the 15th. And on the left center, December 15th. Now, if you don't have the money, I don't have a problem. If you call the court, we'll go on Zoom, or you can walk in here and I'll give you an extension, but don't get into just thinking you're gonna ignore me, because if you do, I'm gonna send you to jail on you. You understand what I'm telling you? So I'm offering you the opportunity, if you don't have the money, to come in here at 8:30 on or before that due date, or to call the court and go on Zoom with me on or before the due date. I'll be glad to give you an extension. I don't care how many times we have to do it. But you just strike me as a guy that's going to ignore me, and that's not gonna work well for you, okay? You understand what I'm telling you?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm dismissing the show causes on those. I'm just setting up a payment plan. Heather, thank you.
He stood in court hoping for another chance, but the judge had heard it all before: failed drug tests, missed payments, and broken promises. You tested positive again, the judge said. Frustration clear in his voice, the defendant tried to explain, but it was too late. This wasn't his first mistake, it was his 7th or 8th. The courtroom fell silent as the judge made it clear: you can't keep using. Every excuse collapsed under pressure. Then came the final blow: probation revoked. In that moment, reality hit hard. Too many chances wasted, and now the consequences could no longer be avoided. This time, there was no way out.
Yukila Idiuzu, 26B150432A and B. Good morning.
Good morning, Joseph Slavin, or 61705, I'm Mr. Hammond, Mr. Steve, who's now stands to my right.
Sir.
State your name for the record.
Prince Dozen.
All right, so you're standing in for Mr. Dubin,
That's true.
and you grant him permission to do that, correct, Mr. Idiuzu?
Yes, sir.
Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Dozen.
Idozu, I'm sorry. So, Mr. Slavin, as I understand it, your client is going to plead guilty to operating while impaired. The super drunk charge will be dismissed on motion of the prosecutor. And also, he is going to plead guilty to resist and obstruct an officer under 771.1 with the urinating in public to be dismissed, correct?
That's correct. He's pleading no contest. He got alcohol content, but he has a memory shaky at best. He had been advised of his rights, and then he did sign the best rights of the package.
He didn't indicate a no contest plea here. I'm not saying I wouldn't take it. You don't remember this incident, sir?
No, Your Honor.
So there's a lack of memory. Okay, so I will go ahead. Need to find the police report here. If you plead no contest to the charge of operating while impaired, the possible penalties are up to 300 fines, 93 days jail, 360 hours community service, court costs are all those. 4 points. You know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't even see a police report in here.
We will stipulate that the blood alcohol content, was the usual, so they set the,
Yeah,
this crime lab came back with 0.29. Maybe it's so stipulated that basically.
John, go find out. He needs to answer that.
Hello, this is Dean.
Mr. Robinette, can you send me in a police report on Idozo here, Prince Idozo? I don't have a police report in the file.
Okay, Judge, I'll have that right into you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Judge. It'll be right there.
Okay. So let's start here. If you plead no contest to the charge operating while impaired, it has the same effect as a guilty plea. The possible penalties are up to 300 fines, 93 days jail, 360 hours community service, court costs, or all those. 4 points would be added to your traffic record. Your license would be suspended or revoked in accordance with your record. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And if you plead no contest to the charge of resist and obstruct an officer, the possible penalties are up to 500 fines, 90 days jail, costs for all of those penalties. You understand that? And again, you understand that a no contest plea has the same effect as a guilty plea.
Yes.
You got to keep your voice up.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand if you plead no contest on the R&O, the resist and obstruct, then I'm going to take it under the provisions of section 771.1. I'll put you on probation. If you're compliant, at the end of the specified period that I set, the case would be dismissed on motion of the prosecutor. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And did you sign, read, and understand an advice of rights form here today?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you plead no contest, you'll be giving up all those rights, and we're not going to have a hearing or a trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And you stipulate I can use the police report to bring it right up here, sir. Who are you?
My name's Tony, I'm the law clerk for D.
Okay, good to have you here. All right. So do you stipulate I can use the police?
That's the person's correct.
All right, so By stipulation, I'm going to have that marked Peoples 1 and I'll review it. To the charge of operating while visibly impaired, how do you wish to plead?
No contest.
To the charge of resisting obstructing officer, how do you wish to plead?
No contest.
All right, give me 1 second. We're going to have that marked. I'm going to review it and we will go from there. Something bothered me here. I can tell you that. I heard 3 times. Does he have prior drunk drivings?
No.
It was just as a result of the wood. All right, let me just double check
I think
this.
what might have been the situation factually, at least from my arraignment, is that there was urination in public. He was in this driveway, but he had asked a couple of times if he could go in the house. But obviously, they have to keep an eye on to make sure that no one consumes alcohol or does anything that might impede the investigation. So instead of just urinating himself, he urinated on his driveway, which is a situation I think is memorable anyway.
Right. All right, I've reviewed the report. If there's a factual basis for both the plea with operating while impaired as well as R&O, are you on probation or parole?
No.
Anybody force you to plead no contest?
No.
Anybody promise you anything other than a dismissal of the urinating in public and the super drunk charges, if you plead no contest?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna accept your plea of no contest to the charge of operating while impaired, dismiss the super drunk on motion of the prosecutor, accept your plea of no contest to resist and obstruct an officer. I'll take that under section 771.1. I'm gonna refer you for a screening and assessment. We're gonna give you a sentence date. I'm also dismissing the urinating in public charge on motion of the prosecutor. So we're gonna give you a sentence date. You're going to go down the hall, get your notice, and then you'll come back for sentence. So what do you have for me, Heather, for sentencing?
We can do May 6th at 8:30.
Is that good with you, Mr. Slavin?
That works.
May 6th at 8,
Myself and Mr. Dugan.
that's fine. May 6th at 8:30, go down the hall, get your notice, and then we'll see you back here, okay? But you're gonna go across the hall and fill out a questionnaire and be interviewed before you leave. Any questions? All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And he has been going AA, right?
It's just from he was, wanted to show you that he's got all the signatures we wanted.
If you've seen him and he's been going, no problem. I don't need to see it. Thank you very much. DNC. Your name?
Tremaine Lee Powell.
Where you been, Mr. Paul?
And Monroe Mental Health.
I'm sorry?
And Monroe Mental Health.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and arraign you. I'm gonna give you a lawyer if you want one. Would you like a lawyer? Let's give you a lawyer.
What's this for, bro? No, this is for Brownstown or what?
This is for Brownstown. You have a super drunk charge, you have a resistant obstructing officer charge, you have a suspend charge, and then you have Brownstown civil infractions that went unpaid from 24. I'm sorry, those are all Brownstown. Every one of these is Brownstown. 2 civil infractions that were unpaid too. So you got, well, actually, yeah, you got 4 misdemeanors in file 24B1470708, B and C. B and C are civil infractions, no insurance and PBT refusal. File A is a drive while suspend charge. Those emanate from an October 15, 24 incident. I also have 24B146938, A, B, and C. And those emanate from the same date, it looks like. Appearance?
Judge, not to get to that, Mr. Powell's stated on it.
Tremaine Lee Powell.
For arraignment purposes, Judge, we'll stand in where we.
All right, I'm entering not guilty, please. I need to check into this one. All right. Where's he been?
Judge, after this, the incident, Mr. Powell began to have issues, namely the mental health issues, and he was in treatment, he was committed to the hospital for a period of time, Judge. It's just now that he's been able to get back on track. He's actually, as a result of this, had to apply for SSI as well.
What was the blood or breath result allegedly? Don't tell your lawyer.
Judge, he refused the PBT. He was ultimately taken to the hospital. I didn't see what the,
They charged him with super drunk. Here's what I'll do. He's posted surety bonds. If you miss again, we're gonna have a big problem. No contact with Officer Washburn. So I'm continuing all your surety bonds. You got 5 of them, but you got to come up with some money on these civil infractions. They're old. You cannot leave the state without the consent of the court. You cannot violate a law. You must appear in court as directed. No contact with Officer Washburn or prosecution witnesses. You're not to purchase, possess, or consume alcohol, marijuana, or illegal drugs. You're to attend AANA at least 2 times per week. I want you to go in person, okay? So he's going to hand you a form. Every time you go, you have to have the form signed. Every time you come to court, you have to bring the form with you, okay? You're not to possess firearms. You're not to possess dangerous weapons of any kind. You cannot leave the state without the consent of the court or violate a law. You must appear in court as directed. Do you understand that, sir?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to give you a pretrial date. You're going to have to fill out, actually, you're not working, right? No? I just need you to fill out a petition, and I'm going to set a pretrial. I'll give you a court-appointed lawyer going forward. What are we doing on this one, Heather? Is it going to be the 6th?
May 6th at 10 o'clock.
Okay, so May 6th at 10 o'clock will be your court date on all these, and you still live on Stewart Road?
Yeah.
So that will all be taken into account, and we'll go from there, okay? So listen to me. You're going to go down the hall and get your notice, but first you're filling out your petition for a court-appointed lawyer, and you have to come back May the 6th, all right? Best of luck to you, sir. Your name, counsel?
Good morning, Your Honor. May it please the court, Ezra Goldman, P 48965 on behalf of Mr. Poor, who's sitting on my right.
All right. Your name, sir?
Joseph Poor.
Okay. I need you to get a little closer to the device. I didn't hear you very well there.
Joseph Poor.
All right, counsel. So he's charged with operating while intoxicated, resisting, obstructing officer, and possession of a concealed weapon. Does he stand mute and waive formal reading on all of those?
Yes, for purposes of arraignment. Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. So now he's going to plead guilty to operating while impaired. The OWI will be dismissed, and the prosecutor is also going to move to dismiss the RNO as well as the possession of a concealed weapon. Is that true?
A deal too good to turn down. Yes,
Yeah.
it's true, Your Honor.
All right. And is that what you want to do, Mr. Poor?
Yes, sir.
I just can't hear you.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So if you plead to operating while impaired, the OWI will be dismissed. The concealed weapon charge will be dismissed. The resistant obstructing officer will be dismissed. And the possible penalties are up to 300 fines, 93 days jail, 360 hours, community service court costs are all those 4 points, license suspension or revocation in accordance with your record. Your vehicle could be or might have to be immobilized depending upon your record. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are presumed innocent. They have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. If you plead guilty, you're waiving your right to remain silent. You're waiving your right to a trial by court or jury. You're waiving your right to question their witnesses, to bring in your own, to use the subpoena powers of the court to bring in those witnesses. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
If you plead guilty, you're waiving all those rights. You're waiving your right to a trial. You're waiving the presumption of innocence, and you're waiving the requirement that they prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
To the charge operating while visibly impaired, how do you wish to plead?
Guilty.
Were you operating a motor vehicle in the township of Brownstown
Yes,
on
sir.
February 21 of 26 at 11:11 p.m. on King near Marvin?
Yes, I was.
Prior to that, did you drink alcohol? And if so, what did you drink and how much?
I had about 3 beers at the bar. It was just regular beer.
What else did you have?
That was it. I might have had 4.
How
before I
big were,
left.
did you have any shots?
No.
How big were the beers?
12 ounce.
Was your ability to operate the motor vehicle impaired because of the alcohol consumption? And if so, in what way?
Yes, it was, sir.
Why were you pulled over by the police?
I'm not exactly sure. It was snowing out, so I may have been swerving a little bit.
You think you were swerving a little bit?
Probably. I was eating while I was driving, so.
Think you were
yes.
swerving a little bit, at least in part because of your alcohol consumption.
Yes,
Counsel,
I
do
would-
you stipulate that the intoxilizer results of .120 was an accurate plea or accurate reading for purposes
I
of
do,
the
Your Honor.
plea?
Yes, I do for purposes of the plea, and I want to suggest that if he had 3 or 4 beers, I think with his size, it's probably 0.12. Makes sense.
Are you on probation or parole right now, Mr. Poor?
I am not, sir.
Anybody force you to plead guilty?
No.
Plea is accepted. I find it to be an accurate plea to the charge operating while impaired. The drunk driving or OWI, R&O, and possession of a concealed weapon are all dismissed on motion of the prosecutor. $1,000 personal bond, no alcohol, controlled substances, or marijuana. No alcohol, illegal drugs, or marijuana. You're not to purchase, possess, or consume any one of those. We're going to have you screened and assessed, so I'm going to ask you, you live way out in Chelsea?
Yes, I do, sir.
Counsel, I'm going to have you write this down, please. You call our probation department, 734-671-0201, extension 245. That's 671-0201, extension 245. Tell him I told you to call. Find out when would be a good time for him to come over. Tell him I asked you to call there and that he's coming from Chelsea. Okay?
Okay.
And then we're going to give you a sentence date. What do you have for me, Heather?
We can do May 6th at 8:30.
May 6th at 8:30. Good with you?
Yeah, May 6, 8:30 is okay. Is that in person or can we do that by
Okay,
Zoom
as
also?
long as you're both in your office, I don't mind if you're there. You either both have to be here or both have to be there, okay?
Sounds good, Judge, and we'll call right away.
Okay, good enough. Thanks a lot. Have a good day. And you have to submit to that screening, sir, and we'll see you here May 6th with your lawyer on Zoom or in person, whatever you guys want, okay?
Thanks very much, Judge.
Thanks. Mr.
He thought he still had time to fix everything, but the court saw a different story. Violation after violation, drug use after drug use, and still no change. The judge didn't hesitate. You've had enough chances. The tension in the courtroom was undeniable. Even his own lawyer struggled to defend him despite treatment, despite promises. The truth was clear, nothing had changed. Then came the moment that sealed his fate. I cannot do anything but revoke your probation. Just like that, everything collapsed. What could have been a second chance turned into a harsh lesson. In court, excuses don't matter, only actions do.